get your attention, but that's the 50, Super Bowl 50. There's 3 Lombardi trophies for the number of trophies that won. Pretty special. I'll come back.
You guys can zoom in. You can sit in your seats and zoom in.
So, like I said, because it took such a long time to get, they made this one more special. You guys can share with each other.
What was our speaker's name? If you knew it, raise your hand. All right. So now this is a problem. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about discipline. Okay? I want to talk to you about discipline. Now, we do know, because we were told yesterday, how hard it is to achieve our goals, particularly when we're not disciplined. What was our speaker's name yesterday? Does anyone know? Does anyone know? Only 1 or 2 of us know who our speakers were yesterday. The big, tall guy, the football player, you remember his name? What was his name? Say it out loud. Farrod what? Was he right, you guys? He's not right. What was his name, Coach?
Farrod Collins.
Farrod Collins. C-O-L-L-I-N?
O-N-S.
C-O-L-L-O-N-S. Almost like Collins, but Collins. If you guys were smart, particularly you guys that are on the brink of finishing high school and college, hands down. Oh, what did you know? What's his name? Greg Knapp. How do you spell that? Not quite right? Say it.
K-N-A-P-P.
K-N-A-P-P. Now stop for a second. I'm going to share something with you. You guys have been blessed, both yesterday and today, with information and data that you'll be able to talk about with people for the rest of your life that others of your peers will never, ever, ever be able to do. But if you don't discipline yourself, you won't benefit from it. Some of you could actually get a job just based on the knowledge you have from this camp. Now, what's the name of our camp? You guys know the name of our camp? There is what? There is hope. And the reason for which we use that name is not only because we believe in God, and we trust you do, but we believe in God's ways, how he takes nothing and makes something out of it. That's the whole concept of hope, where you and I learn that we can become something even though no one knows us but us, and maybe if we trust in God, God. But it's going to be a process to go from being nobody to somebody. You remember how many years Mr. Knapp spoke about how long it took him to get his ring? You remember how many years? You should have wrote that down too. Because you see, knowledge becomes access. Knowledge becomes access. And knowledge is coming your way every day. It becomes a key that opens doors for you to go to the next level. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about trust as well. We won't be long, but I'm going to stay in your face because I so appreciated Mr. Knapp's, we call it exhortation in our church, his presentation. I so appreciated what he stated. He came to you and let you know life is a struggle. And you have a bunch of ups and downs before you achieve any goal. Would you guys say that Mr. Knapp is a perfect example of what I called your attention to yesterday as the principle that we thought about? You guys remember the word that I talked to you guys about yesterday? What's the word? Discipline. Say it one more time. Discipline. Does he represent discipline? Yes. Because discipline is focus. Discipline is tenacity. Discipline is staying in there. We call it stick-to-itiveness. That's not really a legitimate grammatical word, but it works in our community. He hung in there. We call it perseverance. It's something that you're going to have to learn because with all of us, it's always a statistical probability that only a few of you will make it in anything. And that's only because you buy into the system. It's only because you buy into the system. Most people won't make it, no matter how many skills they have, because they don't buy into the system. The system for us at There Is Hope starts off with discipline. That's why we have a structured approach to teaching you on the field to help you physically prepare for the game, to help you mentally prepare for the game. Do you remember our speaker who came on second yesterday? You weren't there. Does anybody remember our speaker who came on second yesterday? Beautiful story he told. Remember his name? Does anybody remember his name? What was his name? What? Chris Marshall. You got it right. That name you should mark down too. Here's why. Because every time God allows you to bump into somebody that's special, and everybody is special. What I liked about what Mr. Knapp said is, we're always learning if we're smart enough to realize we can continue to grow. Remember the cello player I talked about yesterday? How old was he when he was 97 when he died, and he was still practicing at 96. Why? Because he was the best cellist in the world. 6 hours a day at 96 years old, because he wanted to be the best. And when President Obama asked him why does he practice so much, he said, because I still feel like I can get better. Called discipline. Now I want to translate discipline into our topic for today. Who knows what our topic for today is? Trust. What is it? Trust. Trust is what we're talking about today. And so I want to share with you 4 fundamental concepts about trust. Trust is the ability to be both humble and confident at the same time. Trust is the ability to be both humble and confident at the same time. When you become a person who is trustworthy, it's because you have learned the humility of listening and learning and being taught. A trustworthy person is a person who has learned the ability of listening, learning, and being taught. The ability to humble yourself and say, okay, I need to learn. And then when you learn, guess what you acquire? Confidence. When you're on that field and you learn your routes and your plays and you do them over and over and over and over again to where it's intuitive, you don't even have to think about it, guess what you have? Confidence. When you quarterbacks learn how to plant your foot and finish that follow through with that throw, and you know that ball is going to hit its mark because you did it 1,000 times, guess what you acquire? Confidence. But that's because you were humble enough to be taught. So trust is the ability to be humble and confident at the same time. The second thing that I want you to think about with trust is this. It is the act of depending upon, as Coach Knapp has said, someone else or something else in relationship to your need. It is the act of depending upon something or someone else in relationship to your need. When you are acting trustingly, you are depending upon someone. For example, when you all came into the room today, guess what you did? You automatically plopped down into those chairs. And when you plopped down into those chairs, you didn't think for a moment that those chairs were not going to support you. Do you know why? Whether you know it or not, you have had a subject-object relationship with these chairs all your life. Everywhere you've gone, guess what you've done in relationship to the chair? The chair is the object. You are the subject. The chair says, I will support you. Guess what you did? You said, I believe you. And then you responded by doing what? Sitting down. Was there anyone in here who, when you began to sit down in your chair, said, I don't know if this chair can hold me up? No. Do you know why? Because from a little child, you humbly learned that you could sit in a chair and it would hold you up. And you have become confident over the years that when you see that chair, you have a subject-object relationship with that chair. And you can just come and do what? Sit down. And the chair is going to do what? Support you. The idea of trust is relational. The idea of trust is relational. The only way you're going to succeed in anything is relationship. And opportunities open up for you to learn how to be a trustworthy person, as Coach Knapp has said, with your parents, with your teachers, in many cases with your peers. How many of you guys got really good friends? I mean, like really, really good friends. Okay, so put your arms down. Let me ask you a question now. Can you trust them? Right, because if you can't trust them, they're not your friend. If you can't trust them, they're not your friend. The chair is your friend. Is your mother and father your friend? Yeah. Right. So, how many of you guys got really good teachers in school? I mean, just a teacher here, a teacher that you like. Okay, so now, let me ask you a question. Do you trust those teachers? Well, I don't care if it's only one. You, listen, I'm almost done, but listen. You can't be anything if you can't trust someone to lead you further than you are. You can't, fellas, listen to it. You can't be anything if you can't trust someone to lead you further than you are. And then the subject-object relationship, you're the subject. The object is whoever it is teaching you or supporting you, etc. Those who are teaching you and supporting you believe in you. Those who are teaching you and supporting you believe in you. We believe in you here. That's why we get up every day. That's why we do this camp every summer, because we believe in you. Guess what we believe about you? You have massive potential to be the next quarterback, wide out, safety, defensive back. All of the things you guys aspire to in sports. We learned yesterday that many of the pro athletes play other sports, don't they? That means that a lot of guys who could have went to the pros, didn't go to the pros, opted to do something else. Guess what? They are still significant players in this whole process and system that we call life. They are still touching somebody else in the world that they're in. All that I'm saying to you guys for today is this. I want you to get in your head the idea of trust. I, the subject, trust is a verb, and then you fill in the blank. I, the subject, trust is the verb, and then you fill in the blank. I, the subject, trust, which is to depend upon, to lean on, to rest in, to trust, to be able to say, that thing will help me. I, the subject, trust, that's the verb, in, you fill in the blank. I'm going to close it this way. I'm a pastor, as some of you guys know. That means my job is to instill confidence in people, to be trustworthy, and know the blessing of faithfulness, which is one of our topics coming up in the next couple of days. So I'm a teacher as well. So I am one of those teachers that help people understand the world, help people understand life, help people prepare for their careers. I've got 8 children, 8 grandchildren. 6 of my kids have gone on to college. Got 1 more that will be a neurologist. My recent son, David, finished up as an engineer. He's working at one of the biggest wineries in the world as a software engineer. He designs software. All of my kids have to go through what you guys are going through. I had to be for them an object of their, what's our word today? Trust. They had to trust me as their father. They had to trust me as their teacher. They had to trust me as their pastor. How many of you guys have a pastor? A good 50, 60%. Excellent. Pastors are supposed to be trustworthy, right? You know, they're going to give you a good word here and there. They're going to at least pray for you and seek to guide you in the right way. I want you to hear a Bible verse. And then we're going to close in prayer and go eat. Proverbs chapter 3:5 is very common for most of us. And if you ever get into trouble, we want to commend this verse to you. It starts off with a verb, and that's often how the Hebrew is, because verbs are action words, and God is a God of action. The word starts off this way: trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. You are the subject, the Lord is the object. Does that make sense? You are the subject, the Lord is the object. Your job is to trust in the Lord. Now let me give you a reason why you can do that. Because today, the Lord has given us a wonderful day, a beautiful day, a glorious facility, great community, excellent role models and mentors. They have allowed you to stay healthy, get on the field, and have advanced your career. Guess who did that? The Lord. He did that for you, whether you know him or not. He did that for you. Because in the Lord's plans, He wants you to be successful. But what he wants you to do is stay in school, and that school is the school of wisdom by which you can learn anything from anybody, like Mr. Knapp said. We're telling you today, after we told you yesterday, practice discipline, focus, what? Fight, and then what?
Finish.
Focus, fight, finish. Say it one more time. Focus, fight, finish. And before you go to bed tonight, here's what I want to lodge in your head, as well as the idea of trust. When you get up tomorrow and come out to camp, I want you to think, what am I going to focus on tomorrow? I want you to hone in on one thing. You're going to be doing a lot of things tomorrow, but I want you to hone in on one thing tomorrow. Whether it's running patterns, whether it's learning how to absorb the ball into your hands if you're wideouts, if you are a quarterback, learning something about the weakness of your execution and your throwing. Tomorrow we want you to focus in on something and then fight through the discipline and practice and repetitiveness of it, trusting that it will make you better. Now tomorrow I'm going to ask you, what are you focusing in on when we come into class, okay? I'm going to ask you that. So now I'm going to quote the whole verse and then we're going to pray. Proverbs 3:5 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean altogether, and the word lean is trust, on your own understanding. That means take your understanding and combine it with God's understanding. This is called a relationship. That's a relationship. God, this is the way I see it. Can you help me out? That way, you can trust that God will support you. Because God doesn't want you not thinking. One of the reasons I became a successful person is because an older man than me by some 40 years walked up to me one day while I was selling drugs on the way to going to jail before God got me out of jail and took me into the ministry, which took me around the world, which landed me in front of you today, and I consider myself successful. He was an older man who told me what I told you in our first class. You cannot beat, you cannot stop a thinking man. God made you to think your way into success. He made you to think your way out of problems. Think your way out of obstacles. Think your way around walls. Think your way around difficulties. All you need to do is pause and think, and then ask God to help you think it through, because you can trust him to guide you through it. And when he gives you the answer, you're going to move from that difficulty, which requires discipline, into the next level of development that's going to make you a better person and more prepared to become that which you are aspiring to be. Lean not on your own understanding, but acknowledge the Lord in all your ways. Father, this is what I'm trying to do. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I have all the resources. This is how I talk to him. Can you help a brother out? Open doors, open my ears to be sensitive to somebody speaking into my life. Humble me if it's somebody that I'm not suspecting is even worthy of my attention, because you can learn from anyone. And God will guide you into the successful path that both he and you want to be in. Father, thank you for this time. We're asking for a blessing on this food. And as the boys get ready to depart for today, and the coaches and everyone, just watch over them and safely get them home. And knock on the door of their heart and mind tonight as they lay their head upon their pillows, and help them to remember what we're talking about: discipline and trust and focus and fighting and finishing. We ask it in Jesus'